大家好，我是 Cecily， 又来到了我们的占星观察室。这一集呢，邀请的来宾是澳洲的 Usher 学校的校长 Usher， 然后他是我们今天的来宾。那 Usher 老师呢，其实他是我个人本身相当喜爱跟敬仰的一位老师，他很亲切，但是他又非常的有系统逻辑的一个占星的知识，所以我自己在学习的一个方向上面呢，我是非常的喜爱他的教学的风格，所以我也向他学习很多。所以今天能够有机会邀请这一位我敬仰的老师来到我们的节目现场，来为大家做他的观点来去看世运的一个分析。Know your stars on your life， SATA 占星学院最受盛誉的核心课程即将要开学了。我们这套核心课程能够将一个占星新手一步步手把手教你从最基本的古典占星的知识，一直到深入完整理解整个本命盘以及预测的能力，让你不仅学到了占星的知识，而且学到了怎么样看懂自己的人生，掌握自己生命的一套方法。所以能够学习一套了解自己人生的课程，将会成为你一生都受用的最好的投资。Hello Joy, nice to meet you.
It's lovely to see you again, Cecily. Thank you for the honor of interviewing me. I really appreciate this, and I hope that you enjoy and your listeners enjoy this as well.
It's my pleasure to having you into my channel, because we are all focused on the mundane research, especially recently there are so many planets change sign, so it could be bring the very big change for the whole world. So that is why I would like to know what is your opinions for upcoming future, and also how can we prepare for all of these predictions.
So what I've brought up is I have put together patterns between the planets and looking at how the fastest planets are Jupiter and Saturn. So these are the world trends that we're going to be experiencing. Now, because Jupiter moves quickly, by the way, these are the years. This might not be something that you have seen before, but you can see that it's like a calendar, and we've got the years 2025, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 2030 here.
So it will be 6 years calendars.
Exactly, because we're halfway through 2025, and we have just last month had Jupiter has squared Saturn and Jupiter has squared Neptune.
Yes.
Now, what we have here is these are the first 30 degrees are the cardinal signs, the next 30 are the fixed signs, and the last 30 are the mutable signs.
Wow.
So what's happened is that Jupiter and Saturn and Neptune have just gone into Aries. That's what's happening here. That's why they're right at the top of the chart.
So there are all cardinal signs.
Yes. And then Jupiter will come through here, and it will go into Taurus, and then go through all of the fixed signs. Because we know it's Aries, it will go into Taurus, and then it will come into the sign of Gemini, and then it will come through here and go down to finish down here, and then start again here in Libra and go through the cardinal signs here.
Wow. I don't know if my audience, they can totally understand this kind of it looks a very scientific figure.
It looks like waves and motion, and it's a lovely way to see the movement of planets, because we work in rhythms, and we work in patterns, and we work in movement, and this is a beautiful image that I like for these kind of patterns.
For me, astrologer, I think they are very beautiful.
Well, aren't they? They're beautiful. So what happens is, what we talk about when we have world events, when we have big things happening, we tend to say things like, Jupiter is squaring Saturn and it's squaring Neptune in June 2025. And then in February, Saturn is going to conjunct Neptune. And then in July next year, Jupiter is going to oppose Pluto. So it's a matter of we look through a calendar and we say, when are these great big energies going to come together? What change will they bring in the world? What event will happen? How will it change environmentally or politically or socially? These are our big moments. So the problem is it's not personal. It's very hard to see how I'm going to be affected by all of these big changes in these planets.
No.
And normally if we are doing something like this, we put lines in here for where our particular, we might put a line in for where our sun is if it's in cardinal signs, or we might put a line through here for where our moon is or where Venus is, or things which are personal to us, planets which are personal to us. So you could do this, it would be possible to do this, to take one chart at a time and to market the planets, and where these lines intersect is to see where your personal planets are and what the effect is on your personal life. But the truth of it is that these are very, very hard to kind of bring down something which is like a flood of movement and a flood of world events and take it personally. It's possible, but these are things that we have a problem in astrology, is that we know things will certainly happen, which is all this movement and, you know, it's a connection and one planet affecting another. But the truth of the matter is, we don't know how it's going to affect us personally and what we can do about it.
No, we don't know.
So all these sort of world events, and they're very interesting and they're, you know, to look at and very pretty things, but how and what can I do about it, and how can I feel positive about what's happening out there if I don't know where it's going to affect me in my life?
Yes.
With that in mind, I wanted to look at something like this, and I'm going to take you to another page where you know, we talked about what are our personal future trends in astrology. We kind of said this is what we want to talk about. We want to talk about the upcoming transits that will affect the world, and that's exactly what all of this movement is it tells us, you know, what could weaken, what could be a drama, be a dilemma, what could be a big dramatical change in history. But the truth is that I don't know how it's going to personally impact me astrologically. Unless I put my lines into that wave, I'm not going to know what it is. So being able to best prepare for it is pretty much impossible without starting to get into a state of worry or anxiety or fear or depression or all these kind of negative emotional states, because I can't do anything about it, or I don't know where it's going to affect me.
Yeah, no, we can. Even astrologer, we are also human beings.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even when we do our own transit, Cecily, we don't know what they're going to do. They're wild cards. They're just beyond us.
Yeah.
They're like an ocean, and we put our little boat in the ocean, and we don't know if it's going to go this direction or that direction or turn upside down. You know? Okay.
Yeah.
So I have to really concentrate if we're going to talk about what I think future trends will be, because I don't know what they are, is I want to talk about how we can steer our own boat, how we can look after ourselves, our loved ones, the things we care about, how we can remain positive and optimistic and feel like we can manage life. That's what I want to talk about in this.
Yeah, I think that is the most valuable things. I love you talking about this topic because just like you mentioned, we can have the certainty for our prediction because we can open our computer, then we can look at the chances, we can predict so many things that then it will happen at a certain day. But how can we deal with that?
Yeah, without being overwhelmed by just too much and make all these predictions that may never come true, Cecily. All these terrible things we might say that never actually happen to us.
Yeah, so sometimes they would think the astrologers only to say the bad things, the bad news.
I know.
No.
The best reading would to be saying nothing is going to happen to you and no change will happen. But you can't say that. So I want to look at it. Now, this is in astrology. Astrology goes side by side, I think, with particularly traditional astrology. You know, in those Hellenistic periods, there was philosophy called Stoicism. And Stoics talked about things like control, what's known as the control test. In other words, what is in my control? And we have to say, is this transit or event or situation in my control? Now, if it's not in my control, there's nothing I can do about it.
No.
So if this transit is going to happen, if this event turns out to be sad or traumatic or dramatic, or the situation puts me somewhere else, but it's not my control, then I can only work on what I can control. And that's what I want to talk about today. Well, we've got all these world events and all these world transits and all these things that I want to know how will it impact me personally, then these are the things that I can control. I can control my character. I can control my reactions and my action and what I will do if this does happen in this transit, in this event, in this situation, which is totally unknown yet. And I can control how I treat other people. I can treat other people with kindness. I can treat other people with respect. I can treat other people without judging them. These are the things that I want to work on in my character. These are things that are important to me, which are what I call personal impact astrologically. So while we've got this storm around us, while we've got the waters raging and the oceans rising, what I could put into my boat. This is my boat.
We still can share our bright side to people. We can still love people even we are in a struggle. The boat is in struggle. Yes.
Exactly. That's right. We can always bring somebody else aboard our boat and help them. We can always help. So that's what I want to talk about, and how I would do it through the journey of my life, what my life is and what my chart is. And I just want to show you 3 or 4 things which were very important to the Stoics. I'll put this here. So if something is exterior, like a transit or an event or a situation that I have no control over, then I want to know if there's something personal that this event can show me, that it can teach me, that it can comfort me in difficult times. And that's where I want to go from here in our interview, if you're happy for me to do that. 4 things that I want to talk about is that the Stoics were always trying to achieve tranquility. It's not about coldness or not acting emotionally, but to be able to go with the flow, to be able to move, to adapt. And they worked on 4 virtues, which I think are really important when we look at anything in our chart. And the 4 virtues are courage. What do I need to be courageous about? Self-control, which is what I can do about myself and how I can work on myself. How I can gain wisdom from my chart, and how I can understand the principle of justice. These are the 4 things that I think are personally achievable in our natal charts while we have all this transit and world event stuff. And that we can feel optimistic if we're working towards these things. So that's what I would like to talk about today.
Yeah, I think that these are the most precious treasure we can find the inner self, we can explore from ourselves and to find the treasure. We don't need the outside world to give us the treasure. We can find the treasure from ourselves, the inner self.
Yeah. Because often clients will come to us and they'll want to know about money or wealth or success or relationships or even health. But a lot of these things are exterior. We can't control them. We can't control if money is taken away from us and we lose our job, or we suddenly go bankrupt. If the world goes bankrupt, we can't control other people's attention or affection or love. We can only control our own. We can try to be healthy, we can try to exercise, we can try to eat well, but sometimes we're going to get sick, or sometimes we're going to have an accident, or sometimes things going to happen to us where we can't control it. So there's so many things that are outside of our control that it's not we can't even affect how much time we have on this earth, Cecily. That is the most, we can't control time, we can't hold time, we can't make it stand still. So we might as well work on what we can do. And that's what I want to talk about, okay?
It's very important aspect, yeah.
So I know that we thought we would get all transits from me and how transits affect us. But I can't control transits, but I can work with something within myself. And that's, I'm going to go back to this, and I will make this a bit smaller, although no, this will be perfect. Now, you don't have to have, if you don't have a lot of astrology, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about that, okay?
Yeah.
But one thing you will know, you're going to know how old you are. Okay, so hopefully anybody watching this,
even you don't know astrology, but you know your age.
exactly, you know how old you are. So that is the one thing. How old are you? You can work it out. The second thing, which has a slight astrology, well, it has a big astrology thing, is whether you're born during daylight or you're born during nighttime, because this is a big deal in traditional astrology. So hopefully, if you know whether you're a daytime person or you're a nighttime person, then you're going to have a different pattern, and that's the patterns that we're going to talk about today. I'm not going to talk about how psyche changes whether you're born in the day or the night, because it definitely does, but this is not the discussion that we're going to talk about today. Okay?
Yeah, okay. Let me explain what is the daytime chart and the nighttime chart. Is according to your sun. So if your sun is above the horizon, then that is the daytime. If your sun is below the horizon, then that is the nighttime chart.
Exactly. Thank you, Cecily. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. That line, which is your ascendant descendant, is like a cutting line. Beautiful. So that is all you need to know. So, okay.
Yes.
There are two groups that are for children, but I haven't concentrated on those. I've only talked about 5 periods which start at either 18 years old or 20 years old, because they are adulthood, and they both finish at the age of 70. So these are the 5 times that I want to talk about. So all you need to know is when you were born, and if you're born with your sun above the horizon or the sun below the horizon. And think about what you can do now and what preparation you can do for the future. And that's where we want to go from there. So
OK, thank you, Joey. 也谢谢所有的观众观赏我们这支影片。如果你喜欢我这支影片，欢迎你可以分享出去给更多人看到。那如果你想要学习更多古典占星的专业知识，那欢迎你可以关注 SATA 星空凝视占星学院。那我们下次再见喽。Thank you, Joey. See you next time. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.